Hi everyone, it's Karen with Honest Intimacy here for a video that I'm going to talk about. Somebody wrote me in and asked me some questions, and actually one of the questions that she asked me I wanted to share with you guys today. And in answering her question, I thought it would really help to put it up here. I hope this isn't reading backwards. I don't know if it is, so I pray it's not. So bottom line is, she said, how do you deal with your own worthiness? How do you deal with your own worthiness? You know, first of all, you really should realize that you are worthy, no matter what, of happiness and of a good relationship, of kindness, of peace, compassion, joy, to be treated well. All of those things, you are worthy because whether you believe in the universe or you believe in a higher power, whether you believe in nature, I don't care, whatever your higher power is, just keep in mind that that is the compassionate part of saying that is what your role model is of the peace and love, kindness, gentleness, compassion. Those are all your role model of what a relationship should look like. That's also your role model of your worthiness, right? So if you had a parent, a brother, sister, an aunt or an uncle, a friend, an ex-relationship, and the person was always saying things like, oh, you're stupid, or you're so dumb, or you're pretty slow up there, or you don't deserve to be treated well. Those types of words, those types of things, that is 1,000% only words, and words do not cut your flesh. They don't break a bone. They are literally merely words. If you were to spend a few minutes and consider that words are just that, it's just a 4-letter word, words, and you allow them power or you allow them to not have power. And if you were to sit for a few minutes and literally think of some things that you were told repeatedly as a child or even recently, and you listened to it and you heard it and you allowed it in, it would be good for you to maybe write those down, and write them all down on a piece of paper in your private time where nobody's around, and literally look at each one of those and consider the source, consider, and forgive the person that said them, and then release those if you can. Like, rip that whole paper up in teeny little shredded pieces and release it. Because whoever's perception was that they wanted to tear you down like that, oftentimes it's a person that has low self-esteem themselves, and they really are just trying to create you to have lower self-esteem so that they can feel better about themselves. So consider the source, consider how, maybe the person had not arrived at a very higher elevated place of knowing, where they literally just unfortunately were constantly trying to cut you down, and so therefore it was their own agenda, and you have perfect ability to release those, get rid of those, and get past them. So try your best to just consider that part. You are not a victim of your past. You're not a victim of your past. So again, that means that anything you've done in your past, any relationship you were in where you were like abusing the person, or the person was abusive to you, you're abusive to each other, whether it be your childhood and you were always the one that was the most mistreated, you were the one that you felt like you were the most unloved, various things like that. I will tell you a little story about that. So I know some people who literally will say that they were not the most loved one in the family unit, and then when you talk to the parents, you find out that was the opposite of the case. The parents loved that child the most. Perception is everything, you guys, and if you find out your perception is incorrect, just remember that can shift the way you believe about yourself as well. It could be your own story in your own head, how you perceived things, and it might not be what was real at all. You created that story in your own head. So then, you deserve happiness just like anyone else. Well, of course you do, especially if you consider that your higher power, the universe, whatever, that is the nurturing place. So your nurturing place is the peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, loving, unconditional loving. That is the perfect place, and that's the perfect place also for you to start back to loving yourself again and stop the unworthiness self-talk. And it's so much better to get to a place of nurturing yourself back to a good place and knowing that you are worthy. You are worthy of love and kindness and respect, all of those things. Be kind and gentle with yourself. Of course, of course. Don't be hard on yourself and don't say things like, oh, I can never do anything, or, everything's too hard for me. I don't know why I can't get anything. I must be so stupid. All those things that you say to yourself, if you were to literally think back at the things you say to yourself, those are also things that are enforcing unworthiness if they are unworthy style statements. So my suggestion a lot of times is to take a lot of things people said to you and things you say to yourself, whether it be, I'm so stupid, I'm never going to get anywhere, I'm so lazy, oh yeah, if your father told you that you were, ugly all the time and they wish you were a boy, or anything like these things, write them all down. I mean, literally, get a piece of paper and write them down, literally. And then go over those pages, those sentences, the statements, and release them. Understand they were only words by a very unevolved person or somebody that had an agenda of tearing you down. And so when you're all done and you've released that, and literally wait and don't release that until you feel it in your gut that you've released it. And then rip that paper to shreds, piece by piece, every bit of it, and release it and let it go. Get it behind you. And then lastly, if you're an over-pleaser or you have no boundaries set, that can create you to have a sense of unworthiness. Because if your mindset is that if I please this person enough, if I do enough for this person, if I constantly give, but that person's not giving back, then you put yourself in a position of unworthiness because you feel like that you must be not worthy because that person's not giving back to you. That's not your issue. That's the person's issue. The only place where I say that you would probably want to correct is to stop being an over-giver to a person that's not receiving it and not giving back. And also when it comes to boundaries, that's another thing that we talk often about. Boundaries is where you actually set boundaries and say, you will not speak to me that way, and I want to go home right now because we're not going to continue this evening. Or you say, you know what, I'm not going to hang around that friend anymore because all they do is tear me down. Anything that continues to, I would say not the word nurture, but anything that continues to beat you down with words, anything that continues to give you the self-talk that you're not worthy of something, anything that creates a place where you once again are feeling unworthy, those are things that you need to set clear boundaries with. Something I teach very easily, it's something I've taught for years and years and years, is setting clear boundaries. And so I'm happy to get into that more. If you want to hear more about boundaries, you can certainly email me back. Please feel free to write me back and let me know if you would like to, again, see any more videos. Would you like more videos? Would you like specific topics? How can I best serve you? How can I best help you to have true, honest intimacy? And it is true that having some self-worthiness is part of having honest intimacy with somebody else, no matter who it is. So I love you again, and peace, bye, and write me back so I know where to head. Thanks, bye.